if you've been following the summer 2025 quilt along, you've learned how to make 4 different projects with one basic block. Today, I'm going to show you some sample projects that were made with just a single block. Welcome to Epida Studio. My name is Elizabeth and I help you make beautiful things with quilting, pojagi, and embroidery. So our 2025 quilt along has been using the pattern 1 block 4 ways. So they're all based on a single block and there's 4 different layouts that have been used. So today I'm going to share with you a couple of samples of projects that I made using only 1 block. And if you want to try a project like this, you can go back through the playlist, see all the details for how to make it. And this is a project that could be made in a few hours. So in an afternoon or an evening, you could finish the whole thing. And they're not super large projects, but they are fun and useful. So the first project I have to share is this piece, and this might look familiar if you've been following in the videos because this is the sample project that I was making in the videos. So this piece is made with batik fabric. It's just scraps that I had on hand. And so it's made with these bright colors, and it's stitched with a dark blue thread. And this piece finished at about 15 3/4 inches square. So what can you do with a piece that is this size? Well, you could hang it in a window, and as you've probably seen with some of my other things, when a piece like this is hung in a window, it looks like stained glass. So as you can see, when it's not in a window, it doesn't have the stained glass look. The stained glass effect comes from the sunlight shining through, and the seams look like the dark stained glass lines. So there's no black fabric. So if you have a piece, I encourage you, even if you don't want to hang it in your window permanently, just hold it up in the window because it's kind of fun to see the effect. And especially batik fabric really glows in the sun. So besides a window hanging, you could also use it as a little table topper. You could put it under a plant, under a lamp, something like that. You could use it another way in home decor. So if you have another idea of a way you could use a piece like this, I would love to hear your suggestions of ways that you could use this. And something else with this type of project is it makes a great gift. It is quick and easy to make, it's small, it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's something that someone could hang in the window and it would just add a bright pop of color and cheerfulness to their day and their home decor. So think about that, who you know who would enjoy something like this to hang in their window. Now the next piece I'm going to share that's made with only 1 block is very different. It's very unusual. And it is this piece. So you might have seen references to this piece in other videos. This piece is made with scraps from old clothing. So my son had some old sweatshirts and hoodies, and they were kind of stained and had holes. And so he wasn't going to wear them anymore. So I took them and I cut out pieces from the good fabric that was left, and I sewed them together to make this piece. And I've used a bright blue thread in this piece, but it is hard even to tell and to notice what color thread I used. Now this piece is 31 inches by 32 inches. And if you're wondering why it's not exactly square, that's because when I made the block, I didn't trim it down to make it square. I just left it the size it was. Because I was only making 1 block, there was no need to trim the block down to make it square because it didn't have to line up with anything else. Now the original pieces that I had cut out of the clothing for this block were 5 inches by, I think 10 inches, maybe 12. I don't remember exactly how big they were. And so you can see in the middle of this block, this is the center strip. I did adapt that. In the pattern, the middle strip has a long strip and then a shorter strip, but I didn't have any long strips with this fabric. And so I just took the shorter ones and sewed them together. And then when I was laying it out, I did lay it out differently than I was originally planning, because we have this long blue and then pink, long blue and pink. I was originally gonna have pink on one end and pink at the other end, but I didn't put it together right and I wasn't gonna rip out any seams. And so that is what it looks like. Now, this project is not really a show quilt. This isn't something that is gonna like wow people with your amazing piecing and the beautiful fabric, but this is a really great utility project. It's really soft and squishy and comfortable, and I mean, it's probably gonna last forever with this fabric. So what can you use this for? Well, it could be used as a baby blanket. It's a nice size for wrapping either a real baby or a play baby. It also could be used as a lap blanket for if you're just sitting in a chair watching something, you just want something to cover your legs. It's a nice size for that. And with this type of fabric, if you made one bigger with this fabric, I think that would be a great either like a beach blanket or a picnic blanket, because you don't have to worry about keeping it in perfect condition. It would be really useful for that, or an emergency blanket to have in the back of your car. So I would encourage you, if you have leftover fabric pieces, then think of things like this that you can do with them. And they're not necessarily like the big art pieces, but they're very useful, and it's a good way to keep old fabric out of the landfill and continue to use it in a useful way. This would also be a great blanket for a toddler to drag around with them, because it will wash and dry really easily. So it holds up to wear and tear and frequent washing probably better than an actual quilt will. So let me know if you have any ideas for what types of fabric you could upcycle to be something like this. And so these are two projects that I made with a single block, and I'm excited to see what other people made with a single block. And it's a quick and easy project. So I would recommend, if you're curious about this technique, then give it a try with a single block. You can go back in the playlist and see all the instructions for how to make it. And of course, if you have any other questions or comments, then drop them below. I would love to hear them.